Hey everyone, I am in the kitchen today. So this may not quite be gardening related, but I think it might interest some of you. So I am going to make some kombucha. I'll show you my process, how I bottle it, and put links below to all the equipment that I have. All right, let's get started. So the first piece of equipment you'll need is these large jars. Mine also came with, I can't find it right now. There's a cloth with a rubber band that goes over the top of it to keep anything out. So this one is a finished jar of kombucha, and this one I just put a little bit of water in it, and it's got my SCOBY that I just washed my hands and scooped off the top of this. So if you're starting from fresh, you're gonna have to buy a SCOBY, and I'll link the one below that I bought from Amazon. It was great. So, and it also comes with the starter liquid that you need. So my next step here is I'm going to measure out 1 cup of this finished liquid and put it in here so that it can go into here because it needs that liquid to continue its process. So how I know this is done, easy test, just taste it. If it is a little bit acidic, a little bit sweet still, that's kind of where I like mine. So this one has actually been brewing for a while, and I thought I was just gonna have to do this process and toss this because it was gonna be so acidic, but we're actually good. So we're gonna go ahead with it today. The next step here is I am boiling some water, and I'm going to take 6 black tea bags, and I just use the cheapest tea I can, and you're gonna steep it, put that in there, and let it cool off with the tea bags in it. If I'm in a real hurry, sometimes I'll stick some ice cubes in here to cool it off a little bit faster, because you want it to be room temperature to add it back with your SCOBY, or you could kill it. So that's an important thing. So also with this black tea mixture that we're gonna brew, I also put 1.5 cups of sugar in. Now, I've seen stuff online that's like 1 cup to 2 cups of sugar, and I found in my house 1 cup of sugar is good. I mean, 1.5 cups is good. 1's probably okay too. Just you can play around with that number. So once this is done brewing and cools off, I'll show you the next step with that. But in the meantime, we are going to bottle some kombucha. Okay, so we are gonna work on bottling now. So these bottles are great. They have a little rubber stopper in there. Makes it easy to burp them when you need to. So I also have this white funnel. It would be absolutely impossible without that. So in every one of these, I'm going to put 1 teaspoon of sugar in, and that just helps with the carbonation, which is like the secondary fermentation stage. So I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna fill them up a little bit with this apple juice. And you can use any juice that you want, or any like fruit or anything to flavor these. There's 1,000 recipes out there. I usually just pick a juice that's 100% juice and run with that. So I've got all the apple juice in here, and it's just a real loose measurement. I added some cinnamon to some of these because I thought that would be interesting to try. So when you're pouring this out, there's some like scaggly stuff in here. Don't worry about that. It's all good stuff. But there is part of the SCOBY in here, which I'm gonna grab and discard because I had that other good chunk of SCOBY in my other jar already. So the SCOBYs can either float or sink. It really depends, and it doesn't matter, and I've had it do both. So don't let that be alarmed, but do watch for mold or any funky colored stuff growing on top. And usually that's an issue if these get too cold. So if your house is really cold, just really keep an eye on that. All right, so I'm gonna dump the rest, or this, I'm gonna fill the bottles up, and I'm gonna leave some room at the top. We don't wanna fill it too full. Okay, so I got them all filled, and what I do is once the cap's on, obviously, just turn it upside down because the sugar has settled, and if you mix that up, it's gonna use that sugar for fuel a lot quicker. So I just shake it until I don't see it anymore. So then these are all set to go. So what I do is every 12 hours or so at first, I check them and I very cautiously burp them. So to burp them, you just go like that, hold this down, and then it lets the air out. So some of these can create a lot of pressure, and if you forget to do it for a little while, be very careful doing that part. So after a few days of sitting on the counter, I've been putting mine in the fridge because it pretty much stops that fermentation process and building more gases up, and I don't have to worry about burping them. But then it prolongs it that you can drink it. So actually I have probably like 3 more in there right now. And it's a really good way to do it that I've been doing for quite a while now. So one other thing about these is they, if they're doing really good, they'll probably create a little SCOBY on the top of each one of these as well. So don't be alarmed by that. You can also strain it when you dump it out to drink it. I have done that before as well. Makes it a little bit more pleasant. If you have like fruit or something floating in here, if it's just the SCOBY, you can usually pick that out with your hands. So that's it for that part. And then we will be jumping back to the big jar in a minute once my mixture of black tea is cooled off. This has cooled off a little bit now, and I'm going to add the sugar before it fully cools off and I remove my tea. And just remember, you can leave your tea in there way longer than it says on the package. It will just develop a little bit stronger flavor. So, but leaving this warm makes this dissolve the sugar a lot easier. So I'm going to do that, and then once it's cooled off, I'll be adding it to the big pot, the big jar. All right, I got my black tea mixture with sugar mixed or dumped in here, and then I'm just gonna fill it up to where it starts to curve up with water, and then I'll put my cover over it with the rubber band here. And just before you're done, you're gonna want to check the pH of this mixture. I have not been doing this step because I've never had an issue with it. So I do have this pH meter though, and you just stick it in there, and you want it to be around 4.5. Now if it's too high, you can add white vinegar to it to bring the pH down. So and that type of instruction too will be on your SCOBY starter that you get. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm just gonna get this lid on and put it in its little storage area, and I'll be burping these daily for a few days, and I think that's it. The first time I had kombucha, it totally blew my mind how much flavor was in it, and since we can make it at home and save quite a bit of money, it's just a great thing to make, and it's so delicious. There's so many flavor options, and it's a fun project. I know our family loves it, and I hope you guys do too. Thanks for joining. Take care.